Easy Explain Introduction to the Philosophy of History by G.W.F. Hegel, Chapter 2, Reason in History. So the main focus here of this chapter is to really break down and try to comprehend and wrap our arms around this concept of reason for Hegel. It's a very abstract concept. Think of reason with an uppercase R. It's hard for us to grapple with just because we kind of have to use the language that Hegel gives us to work with it, to define it, but that's where the problem lies. It's very condensed, it's very dense. It's just a maelstrom of webs to sort through. But I think what I've done from this chapter, I've taken some snippets to give us an idea of how he's defining it, and then I have a bit of a larger passage that I think will at least help us put it into context of how he's using it and how he's thinking about it. But reason is a really big concept for Hegel, and it's going to carry through the rest of this work. So let's see what we can make of it here. So the first thing he says is that is the substance of the historic world. So reason, this abstract concept, is substantial, at least in terms of it is what history is, right? When we think of the historic world, world history, that is reason, right? We can actually see it when we look at history. He goes on to say, and this is a small quote, where he says, reason is where all reality has its being and subsistence. So there is a real aspect of this, right? It's maybe not the most tangible, physical, crude thing that we can touch and interact with, but reason does come into our reality here to an extent. Also off of that, if we look at this next bit of Hegel's, he says that reason is the infinite power of the ideal. So this is where we're getting into his idealism, almost like Plato's world of forms, almost like going back to the continental rationalists, where we're leaning into reason as this high and lofty ideal. It's something that connects to God or to a higher power. It is of the mental mind cognitive realm. It's infinite, and it's not exactly of this realm, right? We have reality, and then we have the ideal. We have the ideal world. So it is much more so from there, right? That's really where reason lives. It's really where reason is from. But at the same time, we see this spillover, right? He's also defining it as the infinite material of all natural and spiritual life. So ultimately, reason is where nature came from, right? It's where our spiritual life comes from and where it goes back to. And finally, its reason is the infinite content of self-actualization and the infinite form of self-actualization. So when we think of ourselves, if we think of spirit, the world spirit, when we come to know ourselves, we are coming to a better understanding of reason. As the spirit comes to realize itself through the process of history, it is coming to know reason, to manifest reason. So these are little snippets I pulled from throughout the chapter, little glimpses into how Hegel is defining this very abstract concept of reason. Let's go on to the slightly bigger passage to kind of look at how he puts into context. So Hegel says, thus it is the consideration of world history itself that must reveal its rational process. Pause right there. Right, this is what world history is doing for Hegel. This is the goal of the process. It's all rational, right? It's all based in reason. Everything that history does, unfolds, manifests, it is based in reason. So let's continue. Hegel says, namely, that it has been the rational, necessary course of the world spirit. This is what history is. The spirit whose nature is indeed always one and the same, right? Spirit, this very big, again, abstract, ideal sense of this pure essence nature of being that is unfolding through world history as it comes to actualize itself, as it comes to know itself through reason, but which reveals this one nature in the world's reality, right? So world spirit, as it unfolds through history, as it comes to know itself through the process of world history, it is manifesting in our reality the powers of reason, right? That is what spirit is carrying with it as it unfolds. Again, this is very abstract. It is hard to work with because we can really only work with it well using Hegel's terms, and that's pretty much where the problem lies. But as we started to parse this together and start to unpack it before we move farther into the following chapters, I hope this helps.